So the other day, Modern Warfare 2 was officially confirmed to the world. We haven't had a full-on reveal or anything like that, just a few teasers and a logo reveal. Gameplay, campaign, and storyline stuff like that will all be coming at a later point in time, but with that in mind, the lead up to the reveal over the course of the next month or so should be pretty insightful. Today though, I wanted to take some time to talk about some rumored features and franchise functions that we may be seeing making their way into Modern Warfare 2, and as a result, perhaps even further into the future into other Call of Duty titles. As we go along, drop your thoughts down below. What feature would you like to see added into Modern Warfare 2 and beyond? Small or large, doesn't matter. Something like the headquarters, more character customization features, whatever the case, drop it down below. But if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2 as we gear up for what should be an exciting next year. So if you guys would like to stay up to date with absolutely everything while helping us out on the road to 500,000 subscribers, I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, in celebration of Season 3's launch and the official confirmation of Modern Warfare 2, my friends over at GFuel have bumped up code ESPRESSO to 30% off your entire order. So if you guys want to check anything out for the very first time, grab a restock. Now is as best a time as any. Save you a little bit of extra cash each order. You might be annoyed by hearing me say it, but honestly, if you need a recommendation, my favorites are Hype Sauce, Pink Trip, the new Morbius Nectarine flavor, Starfruit, and Strawberry Banana. Can't go wrong with any of those, but if you're interested, links in the description below. That said, let's jump into it. So as we know, last week, or like 7 to 10 days, has been kind of exciting for the Modern Warfare 2 side of Call of Duty. We got a handful of smaller teasers in that time. The first one we had was an image of Ghost under a staircase as the Infinity Ward social pictures, which was our first sort of clue that we'd see Task Force 141 back in action here at this, or at least the first official clue. I mean, Modern Warfare 2 overall was just like the worst kept secret in gaming, which is the most logical thing, obviously, that we'd see here happen, but to actually have it finally officially teased and then later officially confirmed, it was our first look at it. Then on Thursday, surprisingly to me, right after the launch of a new season, Call of Duty as a brand was just like, yeah, we know we just dropped new stuff, but take a look at this. Usually they like to let the new stuff breathe, have its own time, but this took priority, which I'm absolutely cool with. But the Infinity Ward Twitter account tweeted the official logo, and the Call of Duty brand tweeted the video that we've discussed here already, that reveal of Modern Warfare 2 with the classic radio chatter, the night vision ping noise, and all that. Classic, nostalgic, and so hype-inducing. It got me incredibly excited. Though throughout that, we saw 2 flashes of images or details. First, the Task Force 141 logo, as if we didn't know 141 was already going to be in the game, but alas, that was confirmed, and then some coordinates that took us to the Marina Bay Sands Hotel in Singapore. Or if that name doesn't ring a bell, it's that floating ship hotel in Singapore. If you go to like any travel blog, you'll see a picture of it. But anyways, curious to see what we do there and why that's important to the storyline, because Singapore is quite far from the rumored Colombian cartels we'll be fighting. I mean, sure, the drug trade is global, but seems a long way from air quote home, if we can call it that. Either way, those 2 teasers so far are what we saw in that, but they're kind of inconsequential to the discussion at hand. What is more important to me is the verbiage used in the official confirmation tweet, where Call of Duty tweeted, "The new era of Call of Duty is coming," which kind of seems to say that it's setting the standard for future games. Right now, it is rumored that we'll see all games going forward using some version of the IW-19 engine at its base, including Treyarch, who is probably the biggest departure that we've seen out of that with Black Ops Cold War. But that also doesn't mean that we're going to see every single game feeling like Modern Warfare 2019, Vanguard, and what Modern Warfare 2 will feel like as well. All games in the past have stemmed from the same singular engine, but Modern Warfare and the Black Ops series have always felt different fundamentally. So we'll get to those splits again, it's just a matter of time as to when. But as for features and what is upcoming, some of these franchise and sort of legacy features that we could see would presumably stem in Modern Warfare, but not be limited to that. Instead, could be something we see going forward in other further games. One of which that is curious to me, that I definitely think is a great idea, comes from the Ghost of Hope, who said from his sources that Modern Warfare 2 will have a firing range. And we've seen this here in a couple of different games. Modern Warfare Remastered is that one that was featured in that tweet. Of course, we ended up seeing it also in Advanced Warfare, in Call of Duty World War II, but it's something that has been one of those sort of unsung awesome features. You can either end up testing out different builds and say MP weapons or anything like that, or all the way down to just perfecting recoil patterns and getting better at practicing those kind of things. But it's one of those small things that doesn't necessarily impact the gameplay negatively, but is a great addition to allow players to expand their arsenal and their knowledge of the game. That's something that he also then went on to say that he only can assume that this will be coming to Warzone 2 as well, which in the grand scheme of things is a way larger implementation here of this, and one that I think if you were going to choose between Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2, I think that having it in Warzone 2 would be even more beneficial, because that would be something that you can test something in a real world environment of how each build will change in a battle royale, instead of having to go and put yourself in that position of sacrificing your life in that game where you get 20 minutes in and then it's done because you didn't get to fire a certain weapon, you didn't get to test it out. But for that, and especially being a free-to-play offering, it would open up the ability for free-to-play users to test out builds and see what weapons they really wanted to use or to rank up, and it would be something that would be way more beneficial. So for that, I think that is a phenomenal choice here if this does actually come to fruition. The only thing that I kind of hope for in regards to this is, of course, having things like maybe targets or AI bots that don't really shoot back. But one thing that I'd love to see is either the default or the ability to toggle on and off damage numbers per shot. That's something that gives value and weight to each shot that you can visually see and memorize, and makes mastering that weapon a little bit easier if you ask me. But anyways, what is interesting out of this is that it's something that we've even chatted with developers about recently. In one of the recent interviews with developers at Raven, there was talks of, could we add a firing range into Warzone right now to do exactly what we just mentioned, to test out weapon builds ahead of a live environment? And they ended up saying that it's a technical limitation right now for memory and resources, down to creating the space on the main menu so that it doesn't take away or overly clutter the existing menu. So it's something that they're aware of but are unable to do right now. But what strikes me as particularly interesting when comparing this reference of it to what is now rumored upcoming is that they've used the wording of franchise feature, where they think it's something that every game should have, which is interesting that using that wording and only a few weeks later, Call of Duty calls upon Modern Warfare 2 to be that new era of Call of Duty, which will likely set the way forward for the following titles. Very curious. I mean, maybe could be coincidental, but maybe this actually is something that has some weight behind it. Now, also kind of along the same road of a trivial feature that could be a franchise feature is something that Ralph's Valve has mentioned before, but was also recently brought up by the Ghost of Hope, a photo mode, something that would allow you to share in-game screenshots or allow you to curate different customizable features in-game like that. Something we've seen in plenty of other games, but for Call of Duty, that would be a first. That to me, I think, is a little bit more trivial of one, but one that I think would be really cool. As a content creator, I think that would be great for some thumbnails and everything like that. But I mean, for maybe 90% of the player base, you might not really touch it, but for those that would use it, it'd be pretty cool. But to one up that, theater mode was also mentioned by Ralph's Valve as something that is coming here a couple of months back whenever he was doing a Q&A about Modern Warfare 2. And for me, that would be phenomenal. It'd be the first time that we saw theater mode in an Infinity Ward game, if I'm not mistaken, since Modern Warfare 3 and the Elite system that allowed you to save gameplays and upload them directly to YouTube and stuff like that. But it's been something that Infinity Ward hasn't really cared too much to implement into their game, whether for technical reasons or whatever the case. It's been something that's predominantly Treyarch as of late, but with alternating schedules and the 3-year dev cycle, we've seen it only twice in the last 5 to 6 years. So to have that for something that could last a whole 2 years would absolutely be an awesome franchise feature. I think that is nice to hear that it's rumored. But when it comes down to it, these franchise features and everything like that are really cool to me. But honestly, what I like the most is that these are on top of what's already been reported gameplay wise, from weapons, maps, gameplay styles, and features, fundamental things like that. This kind of stuff is just there to enhance the overall usability in various number of ways. Creatives who want to make content, or just people that want to try out specific testing for weapons. Could be any one of those things. The game absolutely could stand on its own without any of these things in it, but I think that they're definitely enhancing the experience without hindering any other aspect by adding these things in. So when I look at this list and I see that these are rumored right now for Modern Warfare 2, I get excited at the prospect of that. So that said, that's where we're going to wrap it up. I want to fill you guys in here on a couple of things that absolutely could be game changers for some of the ulterior ways to use Modern Warfare 2 here come later this fall, but really don't take away from anything perhaps in terms of that gameplay experience. Just added bonuses. So let me know your thoughts down below. Are you guys looking forward to anything in particular with Modern Warfare 2? If you could add one franchise feature into this game, what would it be and why? Feel free to drop your thoughts below, but if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button to stay updated with all things Modern Warfare 2 and anything COD related. Again, the next year should be incredibly exciting, so very excited for it. Hope you guys will join me along for that journey. But that said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.